I'm Wes Volkenant, a member of the League of Women Voters ABC and a resident of Andover. I do not have any say in any of the candidates that are running here for their success this fall at the polls. We're going to turn here to the Ham Lake City Council candidates, and they are Jim Doyle, Brian Kirkham, Al Parranto, and Liz Pomplun. Again, the rules are that they will each be giving their 1-minute opening statement, and then we will turn to the audience questions. They will have up to 1 minute to respond on those, and then at the end of the audience questions, they will each have up to 1 minute to provide a closing statement to the audience. And we'll begin our opening statements with Mr. Jim Doyle.
Well, first I'd like to thank the League and the Chambers for putting this on. I really appreciate that. Again, I'm Jim Doyle. I've been on the City Council for going on 8 years right now. I've been a longtime resident of Ham Lake and the surrounding area. I started out on the planning and zoning, and it seemed to be a natural progression to go into the council position. Married, I've got 3 beautiful daughters that are all in college, so I need money. No. But no, I just look forward to continuing to keep the low taxes and to keep property rights and to keep doing what we're doing. We've got tax capacity rate down. We've got a lot of different things that we've done and successfully done. We got some other things that we need to work on, economic development, those type of things, but they will come. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Kirkham. A little bit about myself. My wife and I both grew up in Ham Lake. We moved back here in 2016. We always wanted to get back to our hometown to raise our family. We have 3 little boys, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 3-month-old. So if life isn't busy enough, I figured I'd run for city council too. While I was away from Ham Lake, I spent most of that time in the city of Bethel, located in northern Anoka County. I served my community there for about 9 years on the fire department and a little under 6 years on the city council. I'm running for city council because I think it's time to have a new voice on the council, and with my experience on the fire department, which is a big chunk of a city's budget, along with my experience on the council and being a Ham Lake resident for 24 years, I think that makes me a good candidate. Thank you.
Next, we go to Al Parranto.
Good evening. I'd like to thank those of you who put this event on, and I'd like to thank you folks for coming. My name's Al Parranto. I moved to Ham Lake about 12 and a half years ago because I'm in real estate. My research brought me here as the place to raise my family. To that end, I have 0 regrets. About 8 years ago, when I heard Mike Van Kirk was running for mayor, I seeked him out and I offered to help him in any way he could because I believe that's the right person for the job. I also helped Jim Doyle and Julie Brasted, and they all got their seats. At that point, I felt I needed to be involved, and I got on the Planning and Zoning Committee. 2 years after that, I was fortunate enough to be interviewed and appointed to the City Council. At that point, I was ecstatic to be joining other like-minded business owners who were committed to cutting taxes. We've had the lowest tax city in the state. We continually cut regulations and change our ordinances to benefit your personal property rights. We even reduce or eliminate laws to give more freedom back to the people of Ham Lake. I hope you like what's been going on in the city for the last 6 to 8 years because we would like to do a lot more. Thank you.
And then we turn to Liz Pomplun.
Good evening, and my first question is for you. By a show of hands, who'd like to see some sunshine? Okay, well that's why I'm running. No, I'm just kidding. But that would be nice. So my name is Liz Pomplun. I have been a Ham Lake resident for the past 5 years. I have been let me start that over. I have been in the banking business for the past 16 years. Now, I am fortunate enough to work locally for one of our community banks right here in Anoka County. I am a wife, a mother to our 2 young boys, ages 5 and 7. I have always had a love and passion for history and politics. While at the College of St. Benedict, St. John's University, I was a political science major and a communications minor. Throughout my career, I have always been active with business networking groups, chamber groups, and the cities in which I have served. I am a positive, proactive person that wants to see nothing but the best for the residents of Ham Lake. My goal and intent is to bring a new voice and a new perspective to be pertinent in our future while honoring our past. creating an even better way for people to live, developed at our own pace and at our own style. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll turn now to the audience questions. First, we'll go to Brian Kirkham. If you're running in the hopes of changing something about the city of Ham Lake, what is it and why?
You know, there's not much I'd really like to change about Ham Lake. That's why I moved here, is because of the rural feel. I like the 1 acre minimums. I like having freedom. I do want to see more business brought to the city. That is one thing that would help out the community as far as taxes go. When you keep your taxes at a nice level and you bring in businesses, it helps lower taxes for everyone around you. But yeah, like I said, there's not really a whole heck of a lot I'd like to change about Ham Lake.
Al Parranto.
I agree. There isn't a whole lot I'd like to change about Ham Lake. We've got the lowest tax city in the state. The government's working hard to give back to the community as much as we can. We listen to people. We've set up a department for, if you have a project that doesn't fit our ordinances, it doesn't go on the no pile, it goes into the let's talk pile so that we can give back to you and make Ham Lake the way you want. It's not about us on the city council. We work for you, and that's something I certainly don't want to see change.
Pomplun.
Yeah, we love what we have here. We choose to live here because of the rural feel and that sense of, you know, having some space and the large lot sizes. We like that, and that's what attracts so many families. But there has been a lot of development over the last few years, and there's been a lot of good housing developments that have gone in. And as things change, housing developments are one sign of how well the economy is doing, but facts are facts, and rates are increasing. You know, the federal prime rate is constantly going up. It's on an upward trend, and we can only do so much to sustain Ham Lake, which, you know, does have the low taxes, but how long is that going to be able to sustain itself? So in order to offset that, you do have to have some proactive business development, economic development to sustain Ham Lake. I mean, it's, in my mind, a no-brainer. And it's what a lot of the families are wanting to see. Along with the grocery store, we'd like to have some of our basic necessities here as well. So just a better balance of our awesome rural neighborhoods and communities and families, along with some nice Highway 65 corridor development.
Yeah, I wouldn't change much. I do think there's some economic development that could come in. I'd like to see maybe a clinic or a drugstore or something like that that's a little bit closer to home. But overall, I think that's the main part that I think we need to work on a little bit harder. It's kind of hard because either you hire somebody to do it full time for you, and then the cost that you put out there, it takes a long time for it to come back. It's certainly something that I would take a look at in the future. But other than that, I would keep the taxes low. I want the wide open spaces. I like the lot sizes. I like my neighbors. The city is running so well right now. The personnel that we've got there are clicking so well. So I wouldn't change much. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question will start with Al Parranto. In some cities, we talk about roundabouts. Here, the question came up, what are your thoughts on the Michigan U-turns or J-turns that are going to be used on Highway 65 in the near future?
I live in a neighborhood where I have to use the Michigan U-turn off of 169th daily. I'm not a big fan. I have to now get into this really fast traffic twice to go south. But I do have friends in town that work for DOT, and they've explained to me that there has not yet been one recorded accident at these J-turns. So I'm for, clearly getting people through town safer if we can. If it's a little bit of inconvenience, we're going to have to deal with it. I know bridges aren't coming for another 3 decades, most likely. So we needed to do something to help with the congestion that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And if J-turns are the answer, which I guess they are for now, we're going to go with it.
And I agree. I think safety is huge and an utmost importance for any community. I mean, you have to live in a safe and secure community. I mean, families aren't going to want to stay here. Families aren't going to move here. I think Highway 65 is a death trap. When we built up in Isani, I had a much longer commute. You know, and I dreaded once I hit, you know, like biking south, like it was, anyway, that's another story. But, you know, I mean, safety and security is utmost importance, not just on Highway 65. Lexington is also becoming the next Highway 65. That's going to be a concern. You know, is it fun? No. But is saving lives a better alternative? Absolutely. You know, as a driver with my kids in the car, you know, I want to make sure that I'm going to get them home safe, just as well as everybody else. You know, I mean, it tears at my heartstrings anytime I hear, you know, I'm a very compassionate person, you know, of anything that is detrimental or, you know, any sort of accident. It's awful. So we got to do what we got to do. And it's a cheaper way too, because if you build a bridge, it costs like at least $5 million. These J-turns are about $750,000, so it's a cheaper alternative.
Jim Doyle?
Yeah, the J-turns are there because of it's MnDOT's way of trying to control some safety issues. Obviously, we all know here about the accidents on 65. And so they put them in there and to help alleviate that. Now, MnDOT and Met Council are doing a survey. It's going to be finished in 2019, and they're going to be looking at Highway 10 all the way up to Bunker Lake Boulevard, and they're going to have a plan for every one of those, and then they're going to extend it farther. But we have to get the congestion. I mean, if we put bridges, and they're more like $20 million each, and I won't see them in my lifetime, but if they have to get the congestion down there loosened up before they can work on our stuff as well, especially on 65. So that's my idea on that.
And Brian Kirkham.
Well, I don't live at an intersection that I have to use that, but in 2010, my wife was in a car accident at one of the uncontrolled intersections on the border of Ham Lake and Blaine, and it's now been shut down. I think they're really nice because of the safety end of it, and yeah, I'm happy that they're there, I guess. We'll have to use them sometime. Now, I think that would be eliminating all the uncontrolled intersections in Ham Lake, and that's a good thing. Now, the one at Viking, I mean, we don't live in East Bethel, but that one might be interesting because that's a really, really heavily traveled road, and I guess time will tell on that. But yeah, I was happy to see those uncontrolled intersections go away.
All right. We start with Liz Pomplun for this question. Do you feel the current city government has the confidence of the community? Why or why not?
I do not. I think that there's better communication that can be happening within our city, and that's one of the things I love about my job. In the banking business, I'm kind of a liaison or conduit between our retail banking folks and our commercial banking segment. And that's just who I am and how I work and what my personality is to bring people together for a common good. You know, so I think that there needs to be better communication, better relationships, just throughout Ham Lake in general. Just, for example, I was at McKinley Walks Together a few weeks ago. It's their annual night where all the families come, and I told the principal at the end as we were leaving that I was running for Ham Lake City Council. And he looked at me with this long lost look in his eye that said, and he said, in the 7 years I've been at this school, not has one single council member or the mayor ever been here. And I said, you've never talked to any of our city people, our city council members or mayor? And he said, no. And I said, that's sad. This is one of the best schools we have, and that they don't even care enough to go to McKinley and create relationships, I think is a huge missed opportunity, along with our sheriff department. I think there could, okay, sorry, bye.
Jim Doyle.
No, I see a lot of people having confidence in what we're doing and have been doing. I ran unopposed last time. Obviously, we have two people that might not think things are going right. But overall, everybody that I talk to think that we're doing a good job. We're leaving them alone, keeping government out of their hair, lowering their taxes. Their property rates are going up. Everything seems to be going really, really well. The city is running well. We're a very financially healthy city. And like I think the mayor said before, bond ratings has gone up, tax capacity rates as low as it ever has been. So overall, that's my feel. And besides, my daughters went to McKinley, and I was elected when they were at McKinley, so I did talk to a few people while I was there. So.
Brian Kirkham.
Can you repeat
Yeah. Do you feel the current city government has the confidence of the community? Why or why not?
Well, I deal with a lot of businesses in the community with my job, and I know that there hasn't been a lot of city activity in the chamber from what I've been hearing as well, which is a lot of local businesses involved. I would like to see more communication with the businesses, and if I'm elected, I would make sure to be doing that a lot more often. I mean, that's my job. I go around and promote the business I work for, and I would be doing that in Ham Lake with all the businesses I talk to, and I think that we could work at that a little bit more.
I also ran unopposed 4 years ago, which was a key signal to me that the people are appreciating what we're doing. As I've been scouring the town for this election season with the mayor, I've talked to an awful lot of people, and the consistent thing I'm hearing from the citizens of Ham Lake is they don't want things to change. We've worked very hard providing the lowest tax city in the state. We continually give back in the way of more freedoms, less regulations, and these are what people are asking from us. So I do think that we're connecting with the citizens of Ham Lake, and I'm hoping that they're appreciating what we're doing because we would like to do more, and I hope you put us back in there. Thank you.
Okay. Jim Doyle will get this question. With all the new homes being built in Ham Lake, plus all the young families, what ideas do you have for new amenities to make Ham Lake a better place to live and raise a family?
That's a good question. Well, I was a past commissioner for Soderville Athletic Association, coach for the girls fast pitch league, and also I've been a member of the Ham Lake Sportsman's Club, past president of that. Archery range was mentioned for parks, and just to make sure that we have facilities for our youth to actually go out and participate in, because you don't have bad kids, you have bored kids, that old saying, and just somewhere and some things to do. So any of the youth activities come in here, I'm a big advocate for that. I would like to see that grow as large as possible, which we do have a huge association. It's one of the state's largest associations, by the way. Other than that, some of those other things like an archery range, nice parks, good ball fields, those type of things.
Well, we do have a good park system. We do have a lot of parks in our community, and as a kid who played at one of those parks, I really enjoyed it. As we grow as a city, I think we still need to look at adding parks to future residential developments. I know that we're doing a good job at maintaining those parks. I believe in the free market, so I wouldn't want to try and go and bring in a YMCA or something like that without the market dictating that and doing it for us. But I guess, no, I'm pretty happy with where things are at as far as activities go for the youth.
We need to continue to increase our park count as we bring in more developments. As of right now, we have a lot of parks. Unfortunately, I don't see them being used as much as I'd like. Kids today, and I have a couple, seem to spend far too much time on their phones and far too little time out living their own lives. So anything we can do to encourage that, I'm for, but I'm not sure there's anything we can do at the rate of technology today. Thank you.
Can you please repeat the question?
With all the new homes being built in Ham Lake, plus all the young families, what ideas do you have for new amenities to make Ham Lake a better place to live and raise a family?
Well, as a mother of a young family, I think this is a good question for myself because I represent a lot of those families, and parks is one. It was something that I asked my residents to sign a petition for, because when we moved into our development, there was a park but no playground equipment, which didn't make sense. So I went to the city and we now have a playground, which makes total sense. So I think we need to fill in the gaps where some of the parks aren't connected, or not, where there's just some gaps within our city as it has grown. I also believe in a trail system. I think we have a lot of active families that want to be safe when they're out taking walks or biking or running. You know, we, this last summer, got a whole bunch of bikes or 4 bikes for our family, and almost every night my kids want to take a bike ride. And it's not safe anymore, and that's sad, you know, that I can't let my kids go ride their bike without fear of, you know, a distracted driver or something along those lines, because we don't have a trail system. So things like that, I think, would really improve our city and the young families moving in.
Thank you. All right. Going back to the streets, I'm combining a couple folks' questions here. Ham Lake has a revolving street fund which funds all street rebuilds with no special assessment. Do you continue to support that program? And kind of I'm throwing a second one in here. Would you support widening Lexington from Bunker to Crosstown? Oh, Brian, yes, sorry.
Well, Lexington is a county road, so that's a county issue. My first priority when I was on the city council in Bethel was pushing for infrastructure, and I came up with a plan similar to what Ham Lake has, is I was putting money away every year for future improvements on our roads, seal coating, filling the cracks, because when you don't have that money there down the road, well, then that can likely lead to bonds, and then you just kind of put your city into debt. So I'm very happy with how it was set up right now. I think it's been going on for, I don't know, 15 plus years or so. So no, I wouldn't make any changes to the way that it's going right now.
The revolving street fund in Ham Lake is fantastic. If you're not aware of what it is, your low taxes already cover all street repairs. You will not be assessed for street repairs. I don't know if there's another city around here that does that, and I would hate to see that go away, because that equates to massive tax increases, and I'm opposed to that. Thank you.
And Liz Pomplun?
The revolving street fund, honestly, I think is something that needs to be looked at a little bit closer. I think the concept is a good concept, but there could be some different improvements or additions to it, just to basically make sure that those streets that need to be repaved or redone are being paid attention to, and that it's not 20 years down the road when it gets done, because there are some that do need some attention. So I think that it's something that, you know, if I were to be elected, I'd need to look into a little bit further, do some research, and see if there's some better solutions or some additional things that can be added to that.
And Jim Doyle.
Well, I am on the road committee, so I should be able to answer this. Yeah, the revolving street fund is great. You have to pay for your road one time, and so once it's done the one time, you'll always have it repaved. But there's also a cycle about state funds and those type of things that come in, and we've got to utilize those funds to help do some of those roads. So that's why there's a kind of we've got a 5-year projection on what roads are going to get done. We've also got, for the people that are going to get assessed, we've got low interest loan programs that can extend out 10, 15, 20 years even. So to help them offset that cost. So I think we're pretty proactive in the roads. I think it's a great system that we have in place, but there is always a method to our madness, waiting for state funds for different things as well.
Good. Al Parranto, we'll start with you on this one. Just so you guys all know, there's just 2 audience questions left, and then we'll be moving to the closing statements. So, talking business, in your opinion, what is the role of city government when it comes to economic development? And what are your ideas for encouraging small business development in Ham Lake? And if anybody wants to drop grocery store in there, you're more than welcome to.
I think our job as a council is to make the city as appealing as possible through our low tax rates and inviting businesses that way. I'm opposed to tax breaks for businesses. I also hear that having more businesses will reduce our taxes. However, I look at Blaine, they have an awful lot more businesses than we do, and we still have lower taxes than them. So I'm not sure that equates to real numbers. I would like to see a more proactive movement from our government, and I wrote about it, that we should have a invitational portfolio of sorts where we can send something out to businesses that we feel fit our community, and then we can invite them in and get them interested in pursuing a spot in Ham Lake and joining our community to increase the rate of development. Residential real estate is booming in this town. You're starting to see businesses come up 65, and that's only going to continue because of the foundation the council has laid out for this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz Pomplun?
Well, Blaine and Ham Lake are two completely different animals, and in my mind can't even be compared. And Blaine has its own recipe working for them, and that's just fine, and they can keep it. I think Ham Lake needs to figure out our recipe and what's gonna make it work into the future for what we see as a good fit. I think that more businesses do need to come into Ham Lake. It will keep taxes low because, like I said prior, the housing development, it's not gonna be like it is forever. It's just a fact. So that's something that we need to be proactive for instead of reactive. And that's what's gonna happen if we don't start doing more economic development. And that can come with the coordinator. There are people, maybe our next city administrator could be very active in that piece. That would be a great role for a city administrator with that kind of a background, which, you know, that could be coming up sooner than later. But also involvement with the chamber is great. I'm an ambassador for the Ham Lake Chamber. I enjoy going to the monthly meetings, and I think that's great for all businesses to be a part of.
Yeah, we've got money set aside and working with the county that we can go out, and we've got the ability to help businesses move in. The biggest problem is communicating the fact that we want them. And we don't want to necessarily pick and choose what comes in, but there are available programs to help people come into our city. I had a long talk with Anoka County this last summer about how we go about doing that, and just some advertising things, looking for new businesses. Ham Lake's wide open for new businesses, and just finding the right media structure to get that out there to entice people to come to our community.
Well, I think it's the city's job to create a good environment for businesses to come to. But we also need to focus on the businesses that start out here and then leave. Couple examples, Dynamic Sealing Technologies. They were started up in Ham Lake, now they're in Andover. They employ over 70 people. Caribou Technologies recently moved from Ham Lake to Blaine. They employ over 140 people now. TE Connectivity, they were another company, I forget their name, something measurements. They were next to Yale Forklift. They combined 2 locations, moved to Andover, and they have over 140 employees. So we need to focus on the small businesses that start up here to keep them here and not let them move.
So we'll be going to the final audience question. Liz Pomplun, you'll have this. And the question area that we've gotten the most cards on tonight actually kind of covers something we asked with the mayoral candidates. What would you want to like to see done, changed, or made different in Ham Lake during your term, if elected? And what would you look at, how would you try to make Ham Lake a better city to live in? And we start with Liz.
Well, I think business development is key. Safety and security in our neighborhoods, at our school. You know, I think that's something that also, unfortunately, nowadays has to be a priority as well. And then upgraded parks, more parks in the trail system. Those are my 3 main things that I'm passionate about as a young family in Ham Lake. What was the second part?
Either making a better place or changes you would want to see.
And I'd like to see better communication and relationship building between the city with the sheriff's department. I had a nice meeting with Jim Stewart, the Anoka County Sheriff, last week, and you know, that's something that he brought up as well. You know, right now just the minimum standard is being met for safety and security, and I don't think that that's okay, because the cities are only growing out and coming this way. You know, so that's another thing that we need to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to, you know, increases in crime and so forth.
Thank you. Jim Doyle.
Yeah, I would like to just see some more shops and stores, like I said, a clinic or a grocery store. There you go. And but you know, the other part would be, it would be nice to have lots of bike paths and stuff like that. The reality of it is to retrofit any of those bike paths, it's $200,000 to $250,000 per quarter mile. So to go back and try to refit all of those things, what we try to do when we're on the roads is trying to when they do an overlay or when we can have that opportunity to make a walking or a bike lane, we'll take it at that time. But we're not going to just do it outright. You can't afford to do it that way. Someone had said, get one on Radisson. Nope, that's the county's deal. So there are some rules and regulations. So a lot of that stuff doesn't even fall on our shoulders. So what was the last part on that?
Either change or better place.
You know what? I think it's a really darn good place to live right now. I don't think I want to change much of anything. So thank you.
Thank you. Brian Kirkham.
I don't really want to change much either as far as Ham Lake goes, but I do want to bring business to the community. That is my biggest goal. That's what I do for my full-time job, and that's what I want to do for Ham Lake. I do want to put pressure on the state and county. We do need more improvements on Highway 65. Now, I'm not saying that overpasses will come in 5-10 years down the road, but if we do nothing, they won't happen in 20 to 30 years, and I think we need to start that now, put pressure on the state and the county, and continue to move Ham Lake forward.
I really love Ham Lake, and I don't want to see much change. I'd like to see the direction continue as it's going. Residential development is booming. We've got families moving in here, waiting to move in here. There are no homes for sale on this new construction. People are buying lots and building homes. They want to be here, and I don't want that to change. This is a fabulous place to raise a family. If there's any change I want to see, it's like everybody else, I'd like to see a little more commercial business, but I don't want it to look like Blaine. I think we can be a little more selective with what fits in our community, and that might be the only change I want to see. I think things are going really well. Thank you.
Candidates, we're moving into the closing statement portion. I'll ask each of you to stay put for taping purposes to finish all of the comments that follow, but we're going in the same order as the opening statements, which means Jim Doyle, you lead us off.
Well, I just, again, want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate you sitting here and listening to us. But I just like to continue what I've been doing, and that is being, fiscally responsible for the community and the taxpayers. I think we've done a great job. We've fine-tuned all the different departments to make sure we don't have 5 people doing one job, those type of things. We're a very healthy city. We've got new equipment as well. We're 80% plus on our equipment and our safety as far as plowing goes. We always do the top-notch stuff. On the fire department, we've got every vehicle and rig that you could ever think of. So I think I've done a pretty darn good job overall. I think we've been working with people. I'm on the personnel committee, I'm on the road committee, I'm on the Met Council committee, I'm on the audit committee. I am the liaison for the fire department, I'm the liaison for public works, and I'm also the liaison for parks. So I've been putting my time in. So just please support me this November. Thank you.
Brian Kirkham, your closing statement.
Well, thanks for coming out this evening. I want to thank the Chamber, the League of Women Voters, and anyone else involved in setting this up tonight. This has been fun. If you elect me as your council person, you're going to get a very active council member. You're going to get one that is open to hearing all sides of the discussion. I believe in the free market, but that doesn't mean as a city council person I'm going to wait for business to come to us. I'm going to go out there actively trying to recruit business. Like I said, that's my #1 goal. I know how important it is for Ham Lakers to have low taxes. When I was on the city council in Bethel, I was involved in 6 budgets, and not one budget did we raise spending by a dime. No other city in the county can say that during this time period except for Oak Grove. I want you to vote Brian Kirkham November 6th, but better yet, I want you to go tell 10 of your friends to vote for me as well. You can go to my website, elect Kirkham, that's KIRKHAM.com. You can email me with some questions, and you can check out some other issues that I've talked about on there. Thank you.
Thank you. Al, Parranto, your closing statement.
There's no way I could possibly sum up all that this council's done in the last 6 to 8 years. We've provided the lowest tax city in the state. The city is in a fabulous financial position. We cut regulations. We change our ordinances to provide more freedom and more property rights for you. We continually give back, and it seems that the people that I talk to in Ham Lake appreciate what we're doing, and I think the question that you need to ask yourself and your neighbors is, do you want that to change? My name's Al Parranto. I'm for lower taxes and more freedom. I hope you're with me.
And Liz Pomplun, your closing statement.
Well, thank you, Shanna at the Ham Lake Chamber and Brad at the East Bethel Chamber and the League of Women Voters for putting this on tonight. It's nice to be able to get together, and thank you for showing up in your consideration of me as a candidate this evening. I have some flyers on the table in the back, so please take one. If you want to contact me, you can. Also, you can find me on Facebook, so that's another way you can communicate with me as well. But most importantly, please help me to get elected into our city council to bring some positive changes in your best interest and what you would like to see happen. I would like to hear you and be that solution to whatever you're seeking. So that's something that I'm always open to, open door policy. So please vote for me on Tuesday, November 6th, and then I will stick around and be available to take any questions, and thank you very much. Have a good night.
Well, this concludes the Ham Lake portion of our forum this evening. I want to thank these 4 candidates for giving of their time and efforts, their participation with us this evening. And on behalf of the League of Women Voters, Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids area, we want to thank our co-sponsors, the East Bethel and Ham Lake Area Chambers of Commerce, especially Shanna Schmidt from the Ham Lake Chamber for hosting this event with us this evening. And now to the audience, if you want to show your appreciation, this is the time to do so.